If you've ever wondered how a national team is built, this episode is for you. Today on More Than Count, I'm sitting down with Natalie, the head coach of Team Canada Co-Ed Premier and founder of PCT Cheer and Tumble, to break down what it really takes to build a world's level routine with limited time, a massive country, and an ICU score sheet that plays by completely different rules. We talk strategy, athlete selection, and the homework culture that makes this team work. Because when you only get 16 training days together, every rep has to count. And then we watch the routine, semis and final, and break down the exact changes Team Canada made after judges' feedback on day one and why those adjustments work. Let's be real, cheerleading is more than counts, and what makes routines special is what they teach us about teamwork, leadership, and life. Let's get into it. Natalie, welcome on the More Than Counts podcast.
Thank you so much. I'm thrilled to be here.
I'm so happy to have you. This is a conversation I've been wanting to have for so long, and I'm so grateful you decided to come on. For the people that may not know you, tell us how you first started in this industry and what different hats are you wearing in the industry right now?
My name is Natalie, and I have been a cheerleading coach for 40 seasons. I started as a volunteer cheerleading coach at Catholic Central High School in London, Ontario. I went on to cheer and coach at the University of Western Ontario, now known as Western University. When I graduated, I moved on to coach more high school teams, White Oak Secondary School in Oakville. Then I opened up a cheerleading gym with my co-coaches, which is PCT Cheer and Tumble, Power Cheer and Tumble, located in Mississauga, Ontario. And I am now currently the head coach of Team Canada Co-Ed Premier.
And how did you fall into this industry? Were you an athlete yourself, or did you just start it as a coach from like day one?
So I cheered my last 2 years of high school. My boyfriend actually was on the team and convinced me that I wanted to be on the team with him as well. And then I went on to cheer at Western. And so I was both an athlete and a coach at the same time.
Well, that's awesome. I did the same thing. I also did the athlete and the coach thing for my university when I got injured. So I understand the different hat.
The different
Natalie,
hats, yeah.
You are currently the coach of Team Canada Co-Ed Premier.
Yes.
And you guys had a pretty big season last year. Do you want to tell us about your results?
Sure. I mean, we came in silver, which was punching a little bit above our weight, a little bit more than we expected. We were really thinking that in our first year coaching, because it was my first year coming back and coaching, that that was going to end up hopefully being a bronze. That's kind of what we had set our sights on. But we were kind of lucky enough or strategic enough or had enough, horses in the stable to play silver. And it was really close.
Yeah, really close. I remember watching it on live. I was on live and I was like, shocked, jaw on the floor, so happy. Like part of me was like, I see it, but I don't know if it's my bias because I love this team so much and this country so much. So am I the issue, right? So I'm glad we're going to get
my knees went weak. I'm not going to lie. My knees went weak, went weak. My knees went to the ground when they called us silver. And that has never happened in 40 years.
That's amazing. And it wasn't the first time you were coaching Team Canada. Do you want to tell us a little bit more about that?
Sure. I mean, back in 2009, myself and a group of 7 other coaches met over at the Cheersport Sharks. And we were told by Liz Gigante, who owns VAS, that they are doing this thing and they want Canada to put in an all-girl and a co-ed team. So the 8 of us got together. It was the folks from Cheerforce, the folks from Sharks, the folks from VAS, and CJ and myself from PCT. And we said, okay, well, let's give it a go. And so ultimately, we ended up putting in 2 teams that year, all-girl and co-ed elite. And we won double gold. And we did double gold for 5 years running.
And that was the first year as Team Canada?
Mm-hmm. First 5 years of Team Canada, we did double gold. And then they kicked us out of the elite division and made us go to Premier. Then it was a significantly harder path forward.
Yeah, I could see that. But once you are winning in a division, you have to move on to the next one, right?
Yeah, they relegate you. Well, I guess it's not relegation. Relegation is down, but they move you upwards. So as soon as you win in the elite division, you must go to Premier. And that's weird for Canadians because we don't have a lot of cheerleading at that level. And so we've been sort of slogging away since I think it was 2015 in Premier. And it has It's not as easy as it looks, given that I
Mhm.
think we have about maybe 10 of those teams in this level across the entire country.
Yeah, because the premier level is a level 7 now, and
Yes.
then the elite is a level 6. And so there, like, I agree with you, there's not a lot of level 7, like all-star. The other path to that would be like the university
Yes,
level
but even
7, right?
then, they have specific levels in elite and premier, and particularly in the co-ed division, there are some university teams, but not a ton of them.
I would love to hear about how do you become the coach or one of the coach of Team Canada? Like, what's that process like?
Sure. So it's an application process. There is a committee that is run by Cheer Canada, and you apply. So you have to meet very specific and stringent criteria with regards to your education levels, like your coaching education levels. There are a number of NCCP courses. There's obviously credentialing through the ICU. And so you need to be able to fulfill all of those. And then you provide them with a resume of what you've done and then references. And then a committee selects the coaching staff. So I left after 5 years and I had an almost 10-year hiatus. And 2 years ago, I applied thinking that I'm coming kind of close to the end of my tenure as a coach. And I kind of wanted to bookend my career a little bit. And so I
Mm.
applied to this, and then I got the call about a week later, and they asked me if I would take on the mantle of being head coach of that program with two other really like fantastically tremendous coaches, which is Heather Cox from Renegade Cheer in Calgary and Jabril Rahim, who is a pretty well-known choreographer and clinician. And so we did that last year. Now, Heather has moved on now, and we have Kurt Ford, who works with Vision out of Manitoba this year. But last year's coaching staff was the three of us. And I think we were a staff that really worked very well.
And that must be interesting to always have like kind of this revolving door as a coaching staff because having your own gym, you must be with the same coaches and strategically move them around your own team. But then over there, you're kind of placed with other people that have applied and you're not picking each other. How do you approach that, like that relationship?
Yeah, it was definitely one of those ones where none of us had ever had really any interactions with each other. We have never really coached together. We've never really worked with each other. So we spent a lot of time on the telephone, sort of talking about what our strengths were, about doing a really sort of a deep dive into where we've been. Now, Heather had been with the team for a number of years. So we're really grateful that she was able to sort of shepherd us through and give us information about the athletes that we currently had and what was working and what wasn't. And then Jabril and I brought our own sort of way of how we work. And then ultimately, we came up with a strategy to move forward, and we did it. And it kind of worked like
It,
gangbusters. So I'm
it kind
happy
of
with
worked.
it.
Exactly. It kind of worked. And then for the athletes, what's the application process like? What is the selection process like? Like Canada's a really big country. So like how does that work?
So we post athlete criteria on a website, and the athletes then give us videos. So we're looking for very specific skills. We're looking for their experience. We're speaking to their coaches, and so that application is done via video. From there, we will select a pool of athletes, and then we will go to our very first training camp. At that first training camp, we are looking at rostered athletes versus training program athletes. So that's kind of how it works is we do all get together in a room, we do fitness testing, we do endless stunt reps. We interview each athlete and speak with them, and then we kind of make a decision whether they will go into the rostered program or into the training program. Training program criteria is kind of like people who are 12 to maybe 18 months out from being on the team, and then rostered are the people who we're going to be putting on the floor or working towards putting on the floor.
Team like partnered?
Yes. So co-ed, everybody applies as partners, and then some people apply specifically to tumble, so they are tumbling specialists. But when we're looking for partner pairs, we are hoping to pick up both of them. And that's true also in all girl. All girls are looking for groups, stunt groups that will work together. Inevitably, somebody gets broken up. Inevitably, something happens. But we do try to keep partner pairs together. The ones that have tried out together, we do try to keep them together.
And is that because it's easier than for learning purposes?
Yeah, I mean, geographically, we're hoping that they're going to be together because the team really only has, I would say, 16 days together, right? Like that's what it's like to be. No, we have 16 days together over the course of a year. We want to make sure that they are together in the city or region so that the individual skills or the skills that can be covered off and the reps that can be covered off can happen in their own towns,
Like back in their own gym.
back in their own
And so
gyms.
I'm hearing an underlying theme of like homework. Like you have to put in the work because it's almost like a 16-day doesn't feel like enough for like to put a routine together. So what's that commitment like? Like what's that like training process like?
So we will give in the beginning. So when it's everybody, you've been selected and we haven't met you yet, we're going to give them very specific things to work towards. So we're kind of taking a look at the athletes that we have and we're making the determination on where we think our skill set is. So then for the first little while, we are building strength with our strength and conditioning coaches. We're building mental resiliency with our performance coach. And we are building fundamentals. So we're looking for them to do 10 reps of a fundamental stunt. Take a videotape, put it in there. Like take a video, put it in our band group. And that homework is due, or I need you to do, full through to fulls or 10 standing fulls. And I want to see it and we're going to critique it and we're going to give you homework. And all of that's done on video. So our first 3 or 4 months is all done online. Once we get together and we have a feel for where people are, then we begin to hone down on the skills that might be routine skills. And when they leave camp with very specific goals. So we have a stunt tracker. Basically, we have a skill tracker. They put their name in. They put how many times they've done that skill. They've done how many times they've executed that skill. And so we know at any given time where the athletes are in terms of their percentage of execution of a given skill. So when we walk into the next camp, we know whether that skill is a stretch skill. We know whether we're going to be able to do it or not. So we don't have to get a feel for it. We've got a feel for it. We have the numbers for it. Kurt Ford is fantastic at managing that process. So yeah, I'm really grateful for him. Number. I'm really grateful for him.
Awesome. That is great. You talked about before that you have like physical preparation and mental preparation specialists.
Yeah.
Is that someone that is always following you, that is like coming in and out, or just is with the team the whole like season?
I will say that the mechanism around Team Canada, so from when I first started in 2009 to now, here we are in 26, the mechanism and the support system around the team is tremendous. So there is a full medical staff that is always with us at training camp. There is strength and conditioning that are always online. They tend not to come to every camp, but when we test, they're at camp. And the same thing is true with our mental performance coach. They're located here in Toronto because I'm in the Toronto area, but they are online and then they've come to a number of camps to help us work with mental performance. So the mechanism around the team and the resources around the team is truly tremendous.
Like has changed so much too.
It's changed so much, yeah.
Yeah, like that sounds like such a great support system for athletes to like be part of and so on. Okay, and so you have little amount of days together,
Yeah.
16 days.
Yes.
You go into those different camps across Canada.
Yes.
And then when you're together, how does that go about?
So we do 2-a-days. So we will do a morning session that's 4 hours long and we'll do an afternoon session that's 4 hours long. So we do 8 hours a day. And so we do longer days with good breaks in between. And then when we get to Tampa this year, which is our last training camp, we will do 2-a-days and then an evening session that's either a team building session or a mental performance session. And that'll only be about an hour long, but it's a reconnection kind of thing.
Yeah, totally. And you're building the routine there. You coaches putting the routine like yourself?
So the very first training camp, once we've determined roster, the very first training camp, we start blocking a routine. So it is really clear as to what our counts are going to be, what our numbers are going to be, what the block in our routine is going to be. And we spend an awful lot of time on pyramids because pyramids are the things that we cannot do. And so we spend at home, we spend a tremendous amount of time on pyramids because it is our disadvantage. And so every training camp has very sort of specific goals attached to it. So our first training camp is all about getting routine blocked, knowing what our skills are going to be, making sure that everybody has their marching orders and takes it forward. Our second training camp, which is the camp that we just finished at, well, I guess we did our third. Sorry, it's our third. Our second training camp is more about pyramids. Our third training camp this year, we just completed in Montreal, and then we did a performance at the Quebec Championships. And so, like, we went live with it, and now we have two more camps, which is Edmonton, which will be our final stop. And the goal always for our final camp in Canada is to hit at home. So we are looking at multiple hits so that we can walk into Florida and not feel like we're under any pressure. We tend to train with other national teams when we get to Florida, and we watch them walk out with like not tape, like ice taped to their shoulders and to their knees and to their backs. And it's stressful. And the last thing we want leading up to the World Championships is to be in a stressful situation. So making sure that we hit it home is the most important thing that we can do. And then when we get to Tampa, it's all about feeling comfortable, vibing right, like knowing that we've got it. And that's what we did last year. And it worked for us. And so we're not changing it this year.
Exactly. You have a formula, stick to it.
We're good. We're good.
We're going for that. That is so interesting. Like I really like the idea of having all of those blocks have a specific focus so that you know exactly what's the goal, what are we leaving here with.
Yeah.
That just makes sense to me.
The Team Canada athletes are so specific. Like, we literally set an objective for every single training session, and we don't leave until we meet that objective. And these athletes, they're fully bought into the process. Like, they're like, no, coach, we're doing it again because that's what we said, right? We said accountability is that we hit 4 pyramids in a row. If we get to 3 and it's the end of the day and everybody's tired, they will not leave until it's 4 in a row.
We said
they're
4.
just they're those kind of people, and we're those kind of coaches. So it works for us.
That's awesome. If we start thinking about like routine, knowing that you're an all-star coach, but you're also the coach of a national team, which is on a different scoring system, the ICU scoring system.
Yes.
How do you approach building a routine differently in those two like scoring system?
So there is no choreography on an ICU score sheet. There is no dance. There is no jumps. There is stunting, pyramiding, and basket toss. Now, should you move cleanly? Yes, you should, right? But it is a more natural, less sort of forced way. You know how all-star cheerleading can be a little bit
flashy.
That is not what we're looking for here. It's not quite college, but it's not all-star. And it is very, very not all-star in that sense. You know, the things that you learn about what they want to see all the skills together all the time, right? Don't give me a ripple. Ripples don't make sense to an ICU judge. They just want to see all the skills all the time. And in our division in particular, they want to see unspotted skills. They would far rather see a simpler unassisted skill than an assisted skill. Don't put your hands on it.
Don't touch it.
Make sure it's clean. Don't touch it. Don't touch it.
Call to action. Do not touch it.
Yeah. It's kind of like, you know, how the novice division is all about how you do things, not what you necessarily do. It is a little bit like that in that sense. I mean, obviously, you take a look at some of those teams that are throwing crazy things, right? And you go, oh my gosh, that's incredible. But if they don't throw it well, then it doesn't score as well as you think it does. Difficulty is not the main driver here.
Yeah. And you've seen that like in the finals last year with like China and Japan.
Yes.
Taipei and Japan, like even like being on live stream and evaluating them, it like was like this is a gamble, but I don't know if it's the right strategy for the score sheet, knowing everything is bucketed into one. And so for people that are like new to the ICU score sheet, there's no like difficulty in execution. And so it's all bucketed into like, this is your pyramid score, and it's both difficulty, execution, participation, degree of difficulty, how and what you're doing all in one. And so it just makes it for a different strategy attacking the score sheet.
Very much so. And I think that that's why we were perhaps successful the way that we were last year, is because what we did do when we sat down as a coaching staff, we talked about the idea that we no longer are going to choose to chase the difficulty of the United States. We are not going to have the skill set that they have. We don't have the training time together. We don't have the athletes together. We have 1/10 the athletes, and every single one of those athletes is one, either a college cheerleader, two, a high-level all-star cheerleader that has probably been in the game for like 20 years. And now they're professional cheerleaders as well, because we are competing against people who are in the pro league. Make that make sense to me. But anyways,
Sidebar.
sidebar. And so we're here with 16 days and primarily all-star cheerleaders, right? So we have to take a different tact at it, and we have to understand that we got to do what we can do, which is a uniquely Canadian style of cheerleading, which is what I think we presented last year, and within our skill set. So that's what we did, and that's what we will continue to do.
Yeah, that's a good point. I felt like last year for Canada to win second, I was as excited as if they won first, because it felt like the rivalry on like Drive to Survive, where, you know, when Mercedes was winning all the time and then everybody's just really competing for second place, like, because they're like, okay, there's Mercedes and then there's the rest of us. And that's how it felt like watching ICU. It was like, okay, there's the US, but then the rest of us are really all going for that, like really that second, third place. Like this is where it becomes like a real like race.
Yeah, I mean, certainly that is how we felt last year, right? Like that is 100% how we felt last year. Silver felt like gold. There's no question that I think people look at the US and say they are untouchable. I think the US also believes that they are perhaps untouchable. And we are planning to challenge that moving forward. We are, you know, we are not likely ever going to have that kind of skill set. You just kind of look at what those folks do, but you know, if the opportunity knocks, we're going to take it. We're going to be positioned in order to take that opportunity if we do. And I mean, we came within, I think it was 4 points of them. It wasn't
close.
It was
on an ICU score sheet, 4 points is close, because you can only get 0.5 or full points.
Correct.
So it's really, really close.
Yeah.
For sure. And I also think being really good in your own lane and maximizing your own lane, there could be two strategies getting you to the same result, right? That you don't have to copy someone else's strategy. You can be really strong in your own lane.
And so that's where we're going. That's what we've been trying to do.
That sounds awesome.
Thanks.
How about we look at some routine? I would love to look at
Sure.
to watch with you semis and final. And so I've heard that you guys made pretty substantial change between semi and finals. And I think that would be interesting to watch, like, okay, what was working in semi and what wasn't? And then how did you attack that into final?
Do you want the commentary? Like, this is where my throat goes completely dry and my knees go completely weak.
Let's totally do that. You know,
I don't watch. Like, this is the thing. I have such a hard time watching. I don't know if I've actually seen semis.
Really?
Yeah, let's do it.
That is very interesting. I kind of love that for us. The other thing that that I think we need to mention before we watch this one is that this was the first year where the Canada cheer changed.
Yes.
It is not the same.
No, it is not.
And then why change it?
Well, because we are a bilingual country, and it was kind of time that we recognized that we were a bilingual country. So we added French in.
Yeah. As like a French speaking person, I love that. I was like fully bought into like the fact that like you guys added the French and the colors and so on. And I personally been like bringing this chant in all of this French school I coach at, because it's a bilingual chant and it's great.
That's awesome. I'm so glad.
I really like it. Yeah. And so what was the strategy here for the chant? Because the difficulty in stunt is not really like what is looked at.
No, not at all. The difficulty is not looked at all. It is really, truly how you connect with the crowd and what you do. So we still feel it's important that we're making sure that we have lots of signs and lots of movements. And, you know, we've got guys on the ground who are with the Megs. Fun fact, rookies are not allowed to touch a Meg. That is not my rule. That's a rule that I learned last year. News to me. But it is making sure that our crowd is fully engaged and not, that our crowd is fully engaged and that they're managed. So
totally. And I think like changing to the colors, then the CANADA Canada.
They
is
stop
such
coming
a great
in so fast.
move.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because in the past, like just the public was going crazy with the CANADA, and it would just like really ruin it for the team.
There is no question. Believe me, I have sat in the stands going like, CA,
Like,
slow it down.
slower. Same. I feel like every year I make a post about it, and I'm like, "Hello,
Keep it
guys,
slow.
me again. Let's make it slow." But yeah, no, I love what you did. I love the basket specifically for me in the entrance. I thought was like really visual, and it just
Thanks.
set the tone of like, wee.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the places that we feel like we can compete with anybody in the world. It's in basket tosses. And so we're going to make sure that we highlight that as much as possible. And then it's just having really confident girls up top, that are giving us nice, strong motions and that there's lots of movement. I love this little like walk up here that just gets us to a place where there's some visual signs. Yeah.
You see the letters, and then they come back
And
to
then they
you,
come
so
back
then
to
you're
you.
not like disengaged.
Yeah. And everything is just nice and solid. And we're just making sure we're leading, leading, leading. This feels like one of the first years that the cheer didn't get away from us. And I think you're right. It is because of the addition of the little chant in French beforehand.
Yeah, it just made it more complex. Also,
I think so too.
like before, it was just really repetitive. When you
Correct.
you look
It was
at
a
it.
lot.
Yeah.
Yes.
So you started the routine off center.
I know.
Is that
Go us.
strategic?
A little bit. I mean, we were trying to signal the fact that this is going to be a little bit of a different look for us. Yeah. And then, we went rewinds through to Cupid and then this nice little movement to get us to someplace that's symmetrical. And then our front handspring, 1.5 ups. And then we had a drop on that one spot, but really good for them to try and keep it there.
Some like small transition, not too hard.
Yeah. I mean, recognizing that there is no score for choreography, but we still all like a visual bit of cheerleading. So making sure that we're, giving them a visual bit of cheerleading and then moving into, I don't know if you know this, but obviously you know this, the routine changed from 2 minutes and 15 seconds to 2 minutes long.
Yes.
Last year. And that is a hard thing to fit in. So when you're trying to fit in 3 stunt sequences, tumbling sequences, 2 basket toss sequences, 2 pyramids, that is
just
a
makes
lot
for
to
a
fit in
lot.
there, right? So you'll see that the tumbling is really, really condensed, which is the thing that we had just looked at there.
Totally. And then you have those two like breakdance moments in the center. Was that like an athlete's thing they wanted to do?
No, that was a Jabril thing.
Okay. I was wondering because I saw it and I was like, oh, I don't know if I've ever seen this.
Yeah. That is just those little nods to understanding that we still want to have a little bit of fun. Like we want to find the athletes having themselves a little bit of fun. So those are our double ups. We tried them a number of times, 5 of them. They were executing quite well, but they didn't execute as well as we would have liked that day. And then obviously our hand in hands through and a nice little easy,
I
simple
love the
dismount.
little angles.
The
on
little
that.
angle, yeah, shows the
Like-
legs on the girls and the toes, which is
Yeah.
great. And here's where we move into our quad pyramid. Interestingly, all of the stump boys are not stunters. So they all tossed full up on their own, and not any of them are what we would consider stunt boys. So you see, we do a connected front full off there, and then we move into our basket tosses here.
Yes. I love your basket.
Yeah, me too. I love our baskets too. So there you go. This is kind of where we know, okay, we're getting there. And then we move into this
I
pyramid
love
sequence.
that section.
Oh, I'm so glad you do.
The little swing was surprising. Like mainly the first time I saw it, I was like, oh, I wasn't expecting that.
That was
A
harsh.
little bit of a boo-boo on the right
A little
there.
boo-boo on that one. And I will tell you, I don't think those kids ever dropped anything. Oh, and this final part of this pyramid, not going to lie, that was done like on the Sunday of Tampa training camp. We tried 18 different middles to get to that place. And then we ended up putting this young man, his name is Anthony Cross. Yeah, Anthony from Calgary. We ended up putting him up, and then it was magic. We really like that.
I also hear that like you had a Canadian flag in one pyramid or like a visual. That's real?
It's actually that little bit of choreography at the beginning where we do a basket toss and then we do kind of this little explosion out. It kind of looks like a little Canadian flag.
I'm going to try to find it back.
Yeah. It's kind of like might be right there. No, I think it's a back. I think you got it. I think it's a little bit back further. No, it's a little back further.
Because that, like, that's something I didn't catch at first. And, oh, I think it's here. Maybe after this.
No, it's before. It's way before. I know.
Let's just let it run.
Yeah, let
We'll
it
get
run.
to
I
it.
think it's right after this.
Yeah. It just, I was online and someone pointed it out. And I was like, yes, I see it now.
Yeah, like I said, there are no points for choreography. It's right here. It's coming here.
Yeah.
But
there
see,
you go.
there you go. No
Yeah.
points for that, but we just always trying to tell a visual story, right?
Totally. Is that something you're thinking of bringing back in 26? The leaf?
I can tell you that there are definitely leaves in the routine.
I want to know.
They're there.
That's awesome. Okay, so now we've watched semis.
Yes.
I would love to hear what feedback was like from semi and how did you guys approach going into final? Like what was the work that went into it?
Sure. So semis went all right for us. Obviously, we had 2 stunt issues and we were a little bit bobbly all over the place, and we had a pyramid issue as well. That pyramid was one of those, like, I don't even know what happened there, one of those crazy moments, but it never drops. Those 2 girls are absolutely phenomenal, and that never, ever drops. With regards to the stunt skills, we started with the score sheet. So we get a day 1 score sheet, we get a day 2 score sheet, right? And I've never really understood getting a day 1 score sheet and not looking at that score sheet and saying, okay, what changes can we affect, right?
Yeah.
And I will say that the ICU judges are phenomenally thorough. They lead you to exactly what they want to see. So what they said is, I don't want to see any ripples, and that includes in your pyramid, and that includes in your basket tosses. I want to see skills that are 100% unassisted skills. I don't want hands going on it. I want to see control like there's no tomorrow. I don't like the diagonal. I don't want to see a diagonal. And they said that flat out. So you're like, all right, okay. So Heather,
solid comments.
They are truly solid comments. And so Heather and Jabril and I sat together and said, okay, well, what are we going to do? And we're like, well, let's meet on the football field. And we made all of those changes. So we changed the formation of our quad pyramid. We changed the dismount in our quad pyramid. We changed one of the stunts that we threw. We changed the timing of our basket tosses. We changed the dismount of our pyramid. We changed everything that they gave us specific feedback on. We changed. And it worked. So we actually made the...
Isn't it of a risk, though? Was there a part of you that were like, are you able to do this because of the caliber of the athletes? Or are you like, you know what, it's a gamble, but if we don't take it, we'll never know?
So I think it's a little bit of twofold. I'm not going to lie. Like having to make that decision, like when Jabril looks at me and says, what are we doing, coach? And I said, we're doing it. And having that on my shoulders was, I'm not going to lie, felt a little bit like, okay. But moreover, yes, kind of like, here we go. But moreover, like real belief in these athletes to be able to make these changes because they are national team caliber athletes. They have the ability to make the changes. We spent 4 months doing fundamentals. We've done 4 months of doing, strength and conditioning. We've met 16 times. We've spent 8 hours every single one of those days. We have built contingency plans, and they believe in themselves, and they believe in their abilities. They're inherent to these athletes. And so we gave them the changes, we repped it out. It forced them to remain present. And remember, we've done some mental performance coaching as well about being present and not going on autopilot. And they were able to do it. And I think it was, the captain of the team, Nick Verberg, the de facto captain of the team, Nick Verberg, I think, he's been there for a really, really long time. He said it felt inevitable. Like executing felt inevitable when we walked onto that floor because that was the mind space that they were in. And that was the skill set that they had. And so, yeah, we made every single change that they could have asked us.
It's almost like I'm hearing that if the whole team is bought in
Yeah.
and like you've done like the foundation, that then if you're like, hey, we're rearranging the house, everybody's like, where can I lend a hand?
Yeah. I mean, the wonderful thing about coaching at this level is the answer is always like, yes, coach. Okay, I got this. No problem. And when that gets fed back to you, you're like,
Yeah.
okay, we're unstoppable. We can do this.
Absolutely. Then the confidence that must also give
does.
you and like how you show up for them, then it's like
And it's
a
vice
full
versa. And we
circle.
feed off of each other.
Yeah.
It's really, really a tremendous experience. Yeah.
Because I'm thinking about it. Okay, let's now watch the final
Okay.
and like see those changes in action and see how we feel about that routine.
Sounds good. I think I've watched this one.
Not the other one, but this one I did.
This one I watched. I was like, that one I gave up on. We made the changes.
Yeah,
It was over.
and it's such it's such a big stage with like the flag in the back, and like it must be like a little intimidating, like coming on for the first time, you know?
Think I think the arena holds something like 10,000. And I would say maybe 8,000 of those people are wearing red and are there to support Canada. So that can absolutely be intimidating. There's no question about it. But it also is a really comforting thing to know that everybody in that room is pulling for you.
It's all like friends.
Yeah.
Let me just mute it out. And then do you have a strategy to come on the floor?
Well, you have only seconds to get onto the floor and you only have seconds
Yeah.
to get off the floor. You're going to see everybody run off the floor as fast as they can to get onto the black because you're penalized if you don't. So it's like, come out, get set up, let's go. Exactly.
Pretty much.
Baskets were better. That was timed better.
Yeah, the
worked on
pyramid
that.
was way more solid. In the catch mainly.
Yes.
And is the flag new from this year too?
The flag is new. Those flags were new. Yeah. And we've got them again this year, but they are 3 times the size.
Okay. Why not?
Yeah. I love being the equipment person.
Supersize it. Let's go.
See, just everything feels a little sparkier.
Yeah, like that dismount with the Canada letter was
Yeah.
so sharp, like all
Yeah.
together. Whereas like
Yes.
on day one, it felt a little more,
Felt a
bit
little,
more
yeah.
bouncy.
Yeah. Now here's where we take a deduction. So right here. So right here, there's a words of encouragement, but it takes us too long to set up. So we
Oh.
took a 0.1 there. I know, but better timing.
Some of those skills went to the top, like you could see in the center without the assistance until the dismount, which
Yes.
was fine.
And that's the goal here. This timing was better. Big save in the
Bubble
middle.
in the center. Better dismount too.
Yes. Here's our leaf again. And then basket toss.
That
And then our
standing
tumbling.
tumbling sequence all together just
Yes.
makes so much sense in ICU.
So there's the change. We changed that stun. Yeah. So we went to 8 unassisted co-ed QPs, unassisted QPs versus 5 double ups.
Yeah, one hand also.
Yeah. Again, this is cleaner. And then here's our pyramid, which used to be done on a diagonal. It's now being done flat. The pyramid was rippled up. It now goes up together. It used to be a connected twist down. It's now a front flip down. Just,
Also like of level.
yep. Basket tosses are now all together as opposed to rippled. We kept one, then we go there, and then there, instead of a 3-part ripple. And then the pyramid is a better pyramid.
Again, that's
We changed this dismount. We gave ourselves 2 counts here. So that is a change in the dismount to give ourselves here. Now we smack that. And then we smacked that.
So solid.
Yep.
And you can tell the athletes are like feeling it at that
Yep.
point.
Yep. Boom. Down.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. So good.
So good. So proud of them. And then they run to get off the floor.
Like, go. We don't want any penalty now.
Exactly.
And so 0.1 for setting up too long.
1 point, not 0.1. 1 point.
1 point.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is huge, though.
That's a time violation. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is there a strategy for that this year?
Yeah. We've been practicing it since day one. Set it up and stop talking.
Exactly. We know you love each other. Let's go.
Exactly. You don't need to tell each other.
Yeah. Is there anything you can tease us for 2026 that we should be watching for or that you're like excited about?
Sure. I mean, I can tell you that our goal is, so this year's team is an amalgamation of the 2024 and 2025 team. 2024 was an unbelievably talented team that just kind of had a bad run. And there was some tremendous tumbling on that team, ridiculously tremendous tumbling on that team. And then obviously 2025 was a very good stunting team and good kind of all around. We've picked up some athletes who were on that 2024 team and some folks who are on that 2025 team, plus a select couple of really tremendous young people. This year's team tumbles as well as I've ever seen an ICU team tumble from any country, anywhere. And so that is integrated pretty fully into what we do. We stunt harder, we pyramid harder, we tumble harder. But the strategy remains the same, which is to stay well within our wheelhouse. So it's going to be, I think it's going to be exciting. I think so. If we can nail our pyramids in Edmonton, we'll be in a good place.
That sounds awesome.
Yeah,
And
thanks.
like for our like people watching at home, this is on a flat mat. Like there is no spring floor. And so finding the athletes that are able to do like high caliber tumbling, not on spring, is also something to like consider.
Yeah, especially given that, you know, we can't double full, right? You can't do double fulls on this floor. So we find our way around adding difficulty with bounding skills, but it's bounding on a flat floor, right? You are doing full. So bounding skills on a flat floor. So you need to be a really strong tumbler to be able to handle that.
Yeah, that's it. My knee could never.
I know, right? Oh gosh, they hurt just thinking about it.
Yeah. Do you have any advice for athletes that are wanting to be on the national team in the future?
Yeah, absolutely. My advice is to seek out every single opportunity that you can find. Best part about Canada right now is that we have really, really involved provincial sport organizations that are all having youth and junior provincial teams that are hoping to vie to become national teams, right? That kind of exposure that you can get when you're 12, when you're 14, when you're 16 years old, with your provincial team vying at the highest ability is certainly something that I would say, like, talk to your PSO and find out when those teams are being formed and participate in that. That's number one. You know, number two is we do clinics when we run training camps. We do clinics around the country. There's that. Participate in those. But the most important thing I would say is, you know, at this level, we don't really peak until we're like 20, 22, 23. That is kind of where the sweet spot for our athletes are, that they've finished. So cheer in university, like cheer at college, cheer on your open team, continue to cheer. I hear all the time, like, I'm not going to cheer next year because I want to try out for Team Canada. And to me, that's the most insane thing possible. Like, you should be cheering actively out there on a team, putting yourselves in, you know, the highest possible caliber team that you can do and competing and training. Like, training is not open gym. Training is training. It's working with a coach. It's like being fit. It's seeking out opportunities. Like, every opportunity to be on a team, you should take. That's my advice. And then
really good
also
advice.
take a look at the criteria and go, maybe I only have 60% of it, but I want these coaches to know I exist. So apply. And then we can help you.
That's a really good advice. I love that. Thank you
Thanks.
so much, Natalie, for
Thank
telling us
you.
the stories behind the routine, bringing us in the world of what Team Canada and a national team looks like, and reminding us that cheerleading is more than counts.
It is definitely more than counts. Thank you so much for having me. Talk about just like running into each other in Atlanta and just being like, let's talk about it. So
Let's talk about it.
I
I
really
want to have
appreciate
this
it, my friend.
conversation.
I love it. I really, really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
This is so fun.